All right. Om Namah Shivaya. So I wasn't gonna do a live today, but this is gonna be a quick one. Again, follow me on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, Sacred Intimacy Tarot. There's a new theory that I find quite fascinating, and it is boggling my mind. There are people talking about the fact that the Mother Mary statues that we've been raised to look at upon as Mother Mary and her son Yeshua, the baby, Yeshua, isn't actually what it's supposed to represent. That the statues of the Madonna and Child is actually Mother Mary, Mary Magdalena and her child. And I find that interesting because it literally flips everything on its back. Because for a long time we've been told that, the Madonna was Mother Mary. And there's so many examples, from incredible sculptures to paintings and statuettes. And they just keep showing. And of course, there's an energy in the way the Madonna is portrayed. There's a fire that's not present. And I find it fantastic, the idea that what we've been seeing for all of our incarnations, what we've been kneeling and praying to, may not have been the Madonna and Child, aka Mother Mary and her son, but rather Maria Magdalena holding their daughter, Sarah, for example. And this idea, and again, we are at a timeline that is quite traumatic. And I think you all know what I'm talking about, but also we are in a timeline of massive unearthing. Supposedly they found the remains of Yeshua embalmed in Egypt, supposedly. And I'm not a biblical scholar, not that that makes me any less important in what I have to say, or any of you in your opinions, as we together excavate from the Akashic records our own past life memories of what is true and what is not true. And I'll give you an example in a minute, but in the Bible, and I forgot where, I think it's Matthew. Hang on, Matthew 20, they're showing it to me, so I'm telling you, Matthew 24:25 to 24:27. That they will say they found me in the desert. It is a lie. I'm paraphrasing. Clearly, I don't have anything in front of me. But that's the essence. That they will find his remains, quote unquote. And it's bullshit. He already knew they were going to pull some shit. So they're going to show us something that is fake. And he, being who he was, having been trained by the three wise men, I'm not joking, I've talked about that when he was born, the three wise men came from the east. We've all been raised on that story during Christmas. Come on, we know the story. And I remember last year thinking, wait, hang on, the three wise men from the east, holy shit. Egypt, India, and Tibet. And so many things are coming to light, and many things will be bastardized and used to subjugate the masses. We have Project Bluebeam. We have other types of nefarious activities going in the background to control us. But the idea that Mother Mary wasn't Mother Mary, but it was actually Mary Magdalene holding her child is magnificent. I haven't mentioned Joan Pope in a long time, but I urge you to look up Pope Joan. And this is a known thing in Europe. I think there was one movie made by Ingrid Bergman, okay? And there are books on Pope Joan. There are documentaries on Pope Joan. It's the reason why we have what they call the Pope chair, with that empty. It's not to take a poop while you're doing your anointing of people. It was used to make sure that the family jewels were intact because she was a female and they didn't know it. It's a long story about it. I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But my point to you, the point of all of this, is that we are now being brought to hidden knowledge that was really, and this I know this from Martin Bernal's books. He was a Jewish scholar who was at Rutgers University, and who wrote the books Black Athena, because he was trying to figure out about his Semitic roots. And he found that the 19th century anthropologists, Egyptologists, they had an agenda, and it was nefarious, and it was controlled by the 1%. And so most of the history that we think is right on the mark comes from that period of the 19th century. And if you don't believe me, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. I mean, when you look at Pompeii, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Pompeii was an incredible crystallized timeline when, Mount Vesuvius exploded. And there's accounts of it, like eyewitness on the other side on ships and so forth, who saw it go down. And because we have so much artifacts frozen, like butterflies in amber, right? And what's interesting about it is that they had massive, overtly erotic murals. I mean, in private homes and so forth. And they had Priapus lamps, and Priapus is lingam, and I can't say the other word, penis. And so there were all kinds of pretty, what should I say? I'm going to say naughty, fun, erotic images that the Victorian age, again, here we come with Queen Victoria. Like, I really don't know why we make movies about her, trying to glorify her and make her prettier than she ever was. The woman was a troll. But what I find interesting is that the Victorian era shut down the erotic artifacts, murals, and it was gated, believe it or not. You could not go see it because they were afraid of, I don't know what the fuck they were afraid of. But the puritanical fist was firmly planted. And so even today, I think I'm still correct. I could be wrong. You can correct me. You need special approval or whatever. You got to make special arrangements to go see the erotic work, and it's pretty intense and it's fantastic. It's what they were. A great show to watch to give you an idea of the overt sexuality with the plebs, the working class people, would be Rome, season 1 and season 2. It's an extraordinary, well-made show that was shot actually in Rome, again with the British aesthetics, understanding that the light in Rome. I'll never forget the director saying there's nothing like the light in Rome, just like there's nothing like the light in Paris and the light in Woodstock, New York. There's just certain lighting that, like the Aegean Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, the Aegean, it has a certain indigo color that you can't replicate. You know what I'm saying? So some of these directors understand these subtleties, and they, respect it, because it is an ambiance. It's a frequency, energy, ley lines. I'm not going to go on and on about it. But anyway, so this idea that's running around the internet right now that the Madonna and child is actually Mary Magdalena and her child, their child actually, is quite exciting. I think it's brilliant. And I think that it is a download, and it is 100 monkey theory moment for all of us, where we're seeing a domino effect of downloads coming through. And I've said it before, and I've said it since 2023, that we were the lines, we would be the fractals of Yeshua. The 1% will create a situation to make us think that he has, somehow levitated down from the sky to come in. Could he? Of course he could. Of course he could do that. That's not the question. But what it is all of us, many of us, are fractal powers, Christ codes coming in from him and from Maria Magdalena and from other great high avatars. I will also add Krishna and Radha, and I will add others, in that energetic frequency that's coming through in lighting us up. And in that, what's happening is people are getting pure downloads. They're getting it. They are now being asked to message it out so that you can start seeing things from a different point of view. What's interesting for many of us in the spiritual community who seek the truth of ancient wisdom is that many of us were not raised Christian, Catholic, Baptist, whatever. Okay? And so for many of us who come into our meditation, and this is a fact, okay? Many of us are literally minding our own business in a meditation, and here walks Yeshua. Here walks Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. Here comes Magdalene out of nowhere, and we know who it is. And telepathically, we're getting downloads or messages. I'm not kidding. It's happening, and it's happening all over the world. And it's one thing if you're Catholic and that's your foundation, and here comes, we can expect that, right? But when somebody who really actually, that is not in their alignment says, wait, hang on, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I didn't even ask for this. Like, I'm not pursuing this beautiful soul, but I'm grateful. What's going on? This is happening like you wouldn't believe. And it's giving me chills. So the downloads we're getting from people isn't for likes. It's not for shares. They're not doing it to get your attention. I can tell you that what some of these, and it's women that are saying it, by the way. I don't know if any men have come out yet to say anything on that subject, but women are coming out and speaking their truth simultaneously. And I know they're not copying each other, and I can't tell you why, but I do know that when there's activations going on, we are lit up at the same time. I'm just a messenger telling you what I'm seeing. I'm your spiritual reporter right now. I'm your little journalist saying, this is what I've, gathered. Okay? But the minute I heard it, I went, oh fuck, yes. Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. And so that's what I'm doing right now, okay? Just to make sure I'm giving credit to these women who you'll come across. I've reposted them, actually. And I think it's absolutely fucking brilliant. It's a literally, and you have to understand that many of us are spiritually anthropologists, excavators. I'll give you an example. And I said it before. This is my third time. Please be patient with me. But for those of you who don't know me, or this is your first time connecting to me, I wrote a book called Recall, set in Mesopotamia 3,500 years ago, and her brothers live in Egypt, and they have a bonded, what is it called? She's a Mesopotamian queen, and they trade with the Egyptian royal family. They are like third or fourth cousins, okay? Now, it never occurred to me that what I was saying was not corroborated by anthropologists / Egyptologists. It never occurred to me because I was having a massive download, right? I wrote a whole book on it, okay? And my point to you is that they just figured out this year that they excavated a mummy, did a DNA test, and saw that there was 20% Mesopotamian blood, 80% Egyptian, and suddenly now they're looking at the whole history, realizing, oh fuck, so the Mesopotamian people, the cradle of civilization, was actually, what is the word? I'm losing my mind right now. I'm so kind of excited because it's going faster. My mouth is too slow for my mind. They were trading. They were intermarrying. They were interconnected. We're talking about 3,500 years BCE, before the Common Era. So that is a mind blower. We've also just seen what it looks like under the pyramids of Giza, and it's very, very, the architecture below the pyramids of Giza is very, well, how do I put it, it's fucking intense. Who the fuck built this, right? And go look up Pyramid of Giza, what they found underneath the ground. It will blow your mind. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. Just Google it, TikTok it, whatever, and it's real. When I get certain things, I always check it through other news sources. I check it on various, to make sure that I'm not being hustled, because there are some people who want likes and this, and then they're full of shit. It is happening. But in this case, everything I'm sharing with you is the real deal. So another thing that's going on right now is that the waters in the ocean are going backwards in the southern regions, I guess, Antarctica. It's never happened before. So there's a shift, a polar shift going on. And we're dealing with the Schumann resonance fucking losing its mind, people not sleeping, people being in some level of anxiety. We know what's happening to human beings across the planet right now, the insane savagery and injustice that's going on. And so we are like literally navigating through a very narrow corridor of high volatile emotions. And it is going to be exhausting. And you need to literally walk barefoot and ground with Pachamama, your home. And she has been your home for thousands, hundreds of thousands of your incarnations on planet Earth. And so you need to like realize she knows you. She knows your soul. She knows there are parts of you buried all over her body. You have been buried. You've been cremated. You've been buried at sea in many of your incarnations, which is, it's mind blowing, really. You could like literally be in front of a fucking cemetery, walk through and stand right in front of one of your past lives and look at the date of birth and date of death. We really, I don't think we realize how magical we are as just sentient beings. We really don't understand. And the expansion of what is being exposed from the concept of how AI is working, the concept of our original incarnations as star seeds, the hybridization of our species, the history of Atlantis that is really mostly all channel download remembrance. I mean, Plato's the only one that basically put a flag in the ground going, yes, this place existed. But many of us are remembering it, again, 100 monkey theory, just remembering collectively, individually, what happened, how it happened, and so forth. People are going into hypnotherapy, past life remembrance, and seeing them in Egypt as the pyramids are being built, and they are star seeds working with humanoids, Homo sapiens. So, honestly, I said this a couple days ago, that's important for you guys to realize that you are the true excavationist, and your job is to make sure that you're getting clear, pure downloads, not corrupted downloads from nefarious forces who also want to throw you off your course of ascension. So the irony of ironies also is that many of us who are starseeds who have come here for the final 3D incarnation, for many of us, we're not going to be a match to 3D frequency anymore. As a matter of fact, even this planet is turning her back on 3D. And she's no longer going to be a match to 3D. So people who don't get their shit together will be incarnated into other 3D planets, 2D planets, if they don't get this shit. It's not a punishment. It's a lesson. It's like, you didn't pass the final exam. Sorry, we can't give you your diploma. You just didn't pass. And that's the end of it. And again, remember, there's no judgment. And I say this not to be politically correct, because if you guys know me, you know I don't give a shit about that. It's about simply, you don't know what you need to ask. You're asking the wrong questions. When you look at frankincense is from Yemen, right? I don't know. I'm sure frankincense is from that part of the world and other parts. It makes sense to worship Mother Mary, but it totally makes sense. It was Mary M. Exactly. And I think that these women are extraordinary, and they're coming out talking about it. What was I going to say? So the three wise men, a German scholar found Isa's name, I believe, in the scrolls of an old Tibetan temple in the 1990s. Some people are saying it was in the 1930s. Some people are saying it the 1880s. I don't know, whatever. Honestly, it never made sense to me that he spent his entire life in the Holy Land. It made sense that he went and studied with great teachers and masters and returned as an alchemist, as an incredible, fully aligned divine masculine. And again, people keep saying they were twin flames. They were not twin flames. They were twin rays. They did not have karma to burn. Twin flames are people who have karma to burn. They're looping and bullshit. Twin rays have done it. The problem for Mary Magdalene and Peter and the jealousy of these men, and also the Abrahamic culture that really saw women as cattle. This is a problem that probably began after the collapse of the, what I would say is the, whatchamacallit, Atlantis. After Atlantis collapsed, probably it took another 3,000 years before the goddess and the high priestess was thought of as, nothing. If you watch the movie Troy, with the Vestal virgins and how they treated these women, it was more like a high class nunnery, at some point, okay, to be honest. But some powerful high priestess, like the priestess of Avalon, when you watch the movie The Mist of Avalon, incredible book and movie, again, a lot of these women have been channeling the truth, because we as the vessels, the fact that we carry between our hips, not just cells, blood, bone developing, but a soul. We carry a soul in our body. The body literally now decides, like the avatar is decided upon by the soul. We're going to call it a child, but really it's a soul as equal as yours, as old as you, if not older in some cases. And here comes the attachment and the soul literally deciding to make itself comfortable in this vessel, right? And we carry that energy. So not only are we carrying our soul, but another soul within our hips, within our root, sacral, and hara chakra, right? So the fact that this is not revered by a lot of women and by a lot of men is sacrilegious. It's actually a sacrilege. The fact that women have to work until they're 9 months, literally a day or two before they give birth, is a sacrilege. The fact that we do not allow women to bond with their babies, and we don't have a 6 month to, honestly, in my opinion, the first 3 years. I'm sorry, family values, prove it. Prove it to me. Show me. By how you treat your pregnant mothers and how you treat your young mothers. Okay? Prove it. And they haven't. And the reason why they do that is to make sure, it's funny how they talk about the first 5 years. To be honest with you, it's not the first 5 years, it's the first 7 years. The child, Eric Field, is merged with it. To be honest with you, it's not the first 5 years, it's the first 7 years. The child, Eric Field, is merged with its mother. You have to realize that this bond is precious, it's fragile, and it must be honored. When we understand that Mother Mary was a high priestess, and she understood the concept of and I'm going to mispronounce this, parthenogenesis, which is the Immaculate Conception. This was something that women did in the ancient world. It wasn't one woman who did it and that was it. It was women who did that, who were high priestesses, who went into deep meditations, who actually alchemized their own cells and were able to give birth to boys and girls without the seed of a man. That truth would have made a patriarchal system enraged. And so once that understanding was obvious to certain power-hungry barbarians, I'm talking about barbaric men, then it would be their sole purpose to control, to subjugate, to rip out these kind of incredible, powerful high priestesses who were going to pass down the knowledge on how to do this. And so that would make a woman who was not physically as strong as a masculine dangerous. But she could probably, if she could do that, I can tell you that she would have a force field where no man could put his hands on her unless she allowed him to. That means that you could throw things at her and it would bounce back. I'm being shown that as I'm speaking. You could try to grab her from behind, but you would literally be thrown back to the ground. They were untouchable. They didn't need the masculine. And this was important because it was to teach the masculine to understand and revere the feminine. And the masculine had to also, as our souls would incarnate as the masculines, we also had to learn how to rise up to our full potential as divine masculine, magicians, like druids, like Yeshua, not controlled by his lingam, not controlled by lust at all, and yet a perfect tantric lover to his beloved. And yet having incredible respect to this beautiful divine feminine who was his equal in every way, in beauty, in mind, in spirit, in power. They were alchemical powerhouses. And these 12 apostles, I think there were about 6 that basically were more gnosis and loved them as a couple. Did not fear them, did not hate them. But let's be honest, the others were jealous and hated her because she took precedent above all of them. She was just as powerful. So this idea that, and it's funny, I'm going to put a call out to all artists on the planet. It's my call to you. I have been looking for a Mary Magdalena statuette the way I see I can buy a Krishna Radha statue. A Krishna Radha statue, you'll see them on the swing laughing. You'll see him playing the flute and her putting her veils around him, his shoulders, Krishna I'm talking about. I have yet to see a statuette or a painting where I see Yeshua and Mary Magdalene being married, staring at each other, holding each other, third eye to third eye kiss, cross-legged, meditating together. I would love to find something to put on my altar, and yet there's absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing. The way they show the Madonna, which now I really believe is Mary Magdalena and not Mother Mary, and that's not to discredit Mother Mary at all. It's to say it's a whole different twist. Mary had fire. Mother Mary was older, and Mother Mary had suffered. And she, because the men, again, remember Abrahamic religions and belief systems in patriarchy and subjugation and rancor and hate towards the feminine. I mean, let's be honest. She was living in a situation that was impossible. I mean, don't forget, they were poor. They were begging for a place for her to give birth on a small little donkey. Okay? So it's not like they were helping each other in the supposed Holy Land. The only reason why it became a Holy Land is this incredible soul, this in the masculine body, came through. And the 3 wise men knew the foretelling, looking at the stars, something the Egyptians understood very well and the Greeks stole as their own, by the way. So it's an interesting thing. And what's interesting is I remember reading Acharya S. She's an amazing scholar who had said that, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to tell you what she said. She said Yeshua had never existed, that it was Isis Osiris, that it was Bacchus, Bacchanalian, aka Dionysus, the birth and rebirth, the death and rebirth, and so forth. Persephone, that kind of idea. And that all of it was just amalgamations of these religions into one. But what I'm going to say to you is I never believed that, though I thought she was brilliant, okay? By the way, she died of breast cancer, and she was a brilliant. Again, her name was Acharya S. Anyway, and she wrote volumes and volumes of books on trying to discredit bullshit because she saw how religion was actually harming people. I mean, you can't deny that. But what I saw was patterns of repeat, because I understand even how the human mind works, which is it only understands or listens to 15% of what you say anyway. If you talk to someone, they can only digest 15%, not the whole of what you're saying, because the average human being listens to respond, not to understand and remember. They listen to respond. You see, so they're already not listening to you, which, we all have that problem. Some of us worse than others, clearly. Hence, miscommunication. But what I saw was that there had been these great souls that have been born, feminine and masculine. And if you look at it, if you go all the way back, because I can't go any farther than that, unfortunately, is Isis Osiris, you can feel the energy of equal power and absolute devotion. And then you go into Krishna Radha, absolute power, equal devotion. One of the great stories about Krishna is that he was so enamored by how Radha loved him that he made sure that she could feel the pleasure he got from giving her pleasure, and he could feel the pleasure she got from giving him pleasure. They were in fucking constant bliss. They were telepathically connected. What he felt, she felt. What she felt, he felt. And if they were in bliss, enjoying each other's company, they felt the actual rapture of that nectar. So we've had prototypes again and again. And we never have been so close to this incredible ascension time. Never before. Because as I've said before, we were naive souls. We actually believed in the fundamental goodness of all human beings. But we have to understand that some human beings are not human beings. They might be a human being, but they don't have the soul that we have. They don't have the beautiful codes of crystal unconditional love that we were first formed into energetic light made by the one of 1,000 names. There is one true God, and then there are, Anunnakis opposing as gods. There's nefarious energies, and we know that's playing out. We know, and I'm not going to go into details. I've done it before, and I think I want to move into more of the positive energy. And the positive energy is that we are no longer naive children of the light. We are street-wise, powerful, multidimensional beings. We have the wisdom of archangels in our hearts. And they love us for that. And we have free will. And what we do with that knowledge and what we do with that understanding is to realize that it's okay to judge what no longer aligns with you. It's okay to reject it. And it's okay to turn your back to it and walk and keep, processing your energetic field into the ascension light codes and literally bathing yourself in the ascension light codes and being in gratitude for this timeline. The reason I'm doing this live, I'm really trying to kind of give myself a break, but the reason I wanted to do it is to make you understand that there is no hierarchy in the excavation of ancient wisdom. We should not be looking up at anyone. This is why some of your heroes are literally collapsing. Don't put anybody on a pedestal. And because we are all learning, some of us are learning at a faster pace because we are more in a place of surrender and trust. We trust our heart coherence. We trust the universe. We trust the archangels and the light beings, the Galactic Council, the Akashic Masters, the Venusian elders and other elders, Assyrian elders. I could go on and on. We trust. We know they exist. We know that what we feel and see is real. We know when we have corrupted downloads. We know. You see what I'm saying? And you're no different than us. You have to give yourself permission to grow. Many of you have these weird ideas about what you must sound like or be like. And we're not fucking cookie cutters. It's not a one-fit-all guru. As a matter of fact, I don't know I don't believe there are that many real gurus. Just like I know there are not that many good and true shamans. I had the fortune of meeting these incredibly powerful goddesses, high priestesses, and one of them, I looked at her, I go, "You're a shaman and no one trained you." And she went, "No." I go, "All downloads, I know it." And she did some work on me, and her knowledge and her touch was fucking real. You don't need to run to get a certificate of completion as a shaman. A shaman, a real one, would never give you a fucking piece of paper. They'd laugh at that. Read the books by Lynn Andrews, who has since passed away. But she wrote the books Shakai Woman, Jaguar Woman, and hang on, what was the other one? Yeah, well, Jaguar Woman was a bestseller. I would go with that. And she talked about how she met. There were two women, Agnes Whistling Elk and the Sisterhood of the Shield. And it was very similar to Carlos Castaneda, by the way, in his work with Don Juan. And many people in the psychopathic, narcissistic, cynical society in the publishing world and so forth, philosophical world and anthropological world, said that it was all, fiction, but it's not. It's not. Carlos Castaneda was talking about inorganic beings a long time ago. Inorganic, meaning not souls like ours. A different type of energy that isn't necessarily good for us as in our human incarnations, in our Lyran incarnations, in our Pleiadian incarnations or Venusian incarnations, not good for us as souls. We slip into various realities, dimensions, bodies, right? And there are inorganic beings that are nefarious. And he talks about that in 1969. And so many of us are have had the privilege to be born in this timeline, to actually become self-aware, to rub shoulders with like-minded people who are doing the spiritual excavations. We're all spiritual anthropologists. And we're remembering for our own past life memories, and we're also tapping into the Akashic records. We are in mass numbers. We are the druids and druidesses, the high priests and high priestesses, the alchemists who were hunted, and now we've come back. We've gathered. The Starseed tribes have gathered to share information, to pool resources, to align with 5D ascension, to give each other and to bolster each other's confidence, to support each other when one of us goes in through a deep, dark depression or exhaustion. I mean, we're sharing data. How do you feel? Fuck, I feel like I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in 3 days and I'm exhausted, right? How are you feeling with this, that, and the other? And so we're kind of giving each other spiritual weather reports. And it's really important. So anyway, I just wanted to share all that with you. And Jesus was married to Mary of Bethany, now Mary of Magdalena, the sister of Lazarus and Martha. Mary of Beth was the one who wiped his feet with her hair. Thank you so much. It's a message I want to communicate with other women. Our sacredness, absolutely. I agree with that. I came here for a reason. Thank you. Oh, hey, Sybil's Oracle. Love that. Yeah, that would be beautiful if we had those, those kinds of statues. And yeah, ancient art. Well, we have the new artists. I mean, look at it. I've been doing my own AI shit, putting Yeshua and Mary Magdalena in the ways that I've actually seen in my meditation, and that's it, and whoever is saying that he was married to Mary of Bethany, I invite you to read the book, the Gnostic Gospel by Elaine Pagels. I invite you to read the Gospel of Mary. We're lucky to have what we have as it is. Again, fragments. And because that's not who is standing next to him. That is not who saw him coming out of the crypt. That is not who did that. It was not Mary of Bethany at all, okay? Pope, I'm trying to remember his name, but anyway, Pope Benedict. There was two popes. I think there was another pope. There were two popes. One, the first pope that combined the three Marys to make her into a harlot, a whore. And Pope Benedict continued with that lie because it was a lot easier to do that. But I'm not going to go back and forth kicking rocks on bullshit. I know what I saw in my own meditation, and I've had multiple connections. And trust me, I was not running and chasing for Mary Magdalene and whatchamacallit, and Yeshua. I wasn't. They came and I knew exactly who it was. And I've had Yeshua. Well, I've been, very curious with Yeshua since I was 8 years old, because I knew at 8, again, remember the soul, right? The soul is not 8 years old. The body is 8 years old. So at the age of 8, though, in this body, this avatar I'd chosen, I realized that, yeah, they were saying bullshit. And remember, this is like 1969 or something like that. Yeah, 1969. And I'm like, no way, no fucking way is, yeah, that's not, whatever they're selling, I'm not buying. And I was 8. So, and I was not raised, we're talking about when TV sets started at noon and stopped at midnight, that kind of shit. And with two channels. So it was like I was getting all kinds of information, trust me. It was just the soul, And for many of you, that is a truth. And this continues. The beautiful aspect of our timeline is that now you can communicate to someone in Glastonbury or Hong Kong, Japan, Scotland, France, Texas, whatever, and literally connect and share data. That's the beauty of our timeline. They are using, the light beings, the high ones, the great ones who adore us, have allowed technology to be used so that we could find each other, so that the starseed tribes would find each other and start gathering. Okay? It wouldn't happen any other time. They've had this kind, and you know this, you should know this. Atlantis had massive technology. Crystals, quartz crystals are used in your watches, and this and that and the other. I don't even, half the shit I don't even know. But I do know this, in what I've done in my meditation, Akashic readings, and hypnotherapies, the Atlanteans, crystals were everywhere. Everywhere. You could scry with, in fact, scrying with a crystal, one of the most famous crystals that they've tried to debunk. They like to debunk fucking everything. The crystal that they've debunked again and again was called a Mitchell Hedges skull. And psychics were, unbeknownst to each other, were being allowed to meditate with the skull. And they were getting holographic downloads of what had happened to Atlantis. They took their own notes, and then all of these notes from various psychics were put together, and many of the things were aligning. They were having the same downloads. Okay, then we're talking about the 1970s here. So, like they will say the Shroud of Turin is real, it's fake, it's real, it's fake. They're full of shit. The main thing that we need to understand is we don't need artifacts. Remember, they found his body. How the fuck he's a bearded man, and he's in. Do you know how many bearded men there were in the? They found his body. How the fuck he's a bearded man, and he's in. Do you know how many bearded men there were in the ancient Middle East? What the fuck are they talking about? Number one, number two. He knew that it would happen. They will find me in a crypt in the desert, and it will be a lie. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. Matthew 24:25 to 24:27. Okay? I don't know why I remembered that, because I don't remember a lot off the top of my head. So look that up. Look it up, because that is serious. And they're about to claim that they found him in Egypt. So that's not going to happen. Mother Mary appeared to me to mother me when I was needed mothering. I never received in Yeshua too. Beautiful. That's beautiful. And did they run Atlantis from the power of crystals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, and I wasn't going to do a live at all. You know that. To be honest, yeah, I mean, everything was run by crystals. I'll give you an example. There was an Akashic reading I did where a Pleiadian, a powerful Pleiadian, I'm going to say warrior, but I'm not going to put warrior because it wasn't a war, but he was very, very tall. I think he was like a 6'6", something like that. He was completely, I wouldn't say armored, but he had the epaulets, the power, like he was built, and his skin had a very interesting grayish, silvery sheen to it. I'd say more like silvery sheen with platinum hair, kid you not. And I'm watching him being married to an Atlantis, a woman of Atlantis, a high priestess, looking like you do and I do. So dark hair, pale, moon-like skin, and beautiful face, and very Grecian looking, that kind of thing, with the large eyes, eyelids. And they were getting married, and there was a priest overlooking the marriage, and they were in what I would call a massive cube temple. I'm going to say cube because there were only long, thin rectangular slits in the high walls to let air and slivers of light in. It was the crystal was quartz crystal clear with inclusions and so forth you would expect, but a massive fucking building. And they were and I'm going to say the word marriage, but I'm going to call it a bonded ceremony, because that would have been a more appropriate word, a bonded ceremony. And when they came out of the bonded ceremony, because no one was allowed to witness the actual ceremony, they were all outside waiting. And when the doors opened, there was celebration. There was no one in that temple except for the person bonding them and the beloveds. And then when they walked out, there was the celebration began, and the doors closed behind them. Their new life had begun. And why? Well, because crystals, there were a couple things would happen. The crystals would infuse the couple with power, with a clearing, recharging energy, picking up any weirdsome scars that would be on them, any doubts, any this, any that, and literally sponge it off them. And they would be ignited by the crystals and the light shining through. And then when they are released into the world, they are, like they've been completely set, it's like a massive, what's the word I want to use? It's upgrades. Upgrades have happened. So it was a marriage ceremony. The way it was a bonding ceremony, a clearing ceremony. And I've seen two ceremonies like that, one off planet. And that's another story for another day. But again, bonding ceremonies. And the way I saw people fall when I do the Akashic record, and also, by the way, hypnotherapy, clients are telling me this. This is why, okay, there's your truth, and then there's the collective truth, okay, the truth, the absolute truth, okay, which is objective. And I remember doing an Akashic reading, seeing people going through, like literally walking through a portal, and I mean literally walking through a portal and then going into another dimension, right? And I had a client who did the exact same thing. They were on a blue planet. They were more androgynous people, and androgynous sentient beings, blue planet, blue people, and one day deciding to literally just walk through a portal to go to another reality, another world, if you will. And that blew my mind, because I thought it was my mind showing me how, like, think of it as a parable, a metaphor, but no, it's literally what happens. You go through a portal. A lot of you have no problems understanding that, because you understand the power of portals and the power of mirrors, the power of certain stones, and ley lines, and how ley lines are activated. Well, one of the things I used to totally fascinate me was the Devil's Triangle in the Bermuda, the Bermuda Triangle, because that was a portal. People were fucking disappearing. They never found planes. And we have satellites now. So if all kinds of ships and planes had sunk, fallen from the sky, we would have by now heard that at the bottom of the sea of the Bermuda Triangle, they would have found shit. They didn't find anything. These crafts disappeared, went into other dimensions. So, and it was frightening. People were frightened by that shit. People in the 70s, there were lots of books written on that subject, and people were, it really triggered the fear out of people, the Bermuda. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't go there. I go to Barbados, but I wouldn't go to Bermuda. There's something that's still lodged in my brain about that place. And to be fair, it could be that it's a fractal, it's like a piece of Atlantis. And it could be a massive power zone. With the satellites that we have, with the knowledge of, fallen cities, fallen islands, fallen situations, I'm shocked that we are not being told what they're finding visually. Just click, 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 at the bottom of the oceans. This is weird to me. And I know they're seeing a lot of things, a lot. Jules Verne had written 10,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea, of a whole, village. There's an old manuscript that they found that Jules Verne, I don't know if you know who I mean. Jules Verne was a very famous writer. He was a sci-fi writer. He was writing about the submarine, the helicopter, and I believe that the boys that were reading his novels grew up to become the engineers who invented the helicopter and the submarine based on his books, for example. Now, there's an old manuscript that came out back in the 90s, early 90s, okay, that talked about fax machines. That's insane shit. Like, how the fuck? But you don't hear about it anymore. It's like, bloop, said and gone. So Nicholas Tesla understood the power of crystals. I forgot what state he was in, but his lab was on an old abandoned quartz crystal mine, and he had chosen this top of a mountain at the highest peak that had the most thunderstorms and lightning to study the power crystal and energy and capturing energy. And he wanted it to be free. He wanted everyone to have free power. So circling back, what we're finding is that the 18 and in particular the 19th century historians, anthropologists, Egyptologists did massive damage. And it brainwashed us even further down because they knew they were losing their control over the Abrahamic religions. They knew they were losing us. And so they had to come up with Darwinism, right? And they had to come up with, logical theories based on science, right? And they did some fucking damage. And so even that's being blown to smithereens. You can look at Graham Hancock, who talked about the Sphinx being way, way older. He said, they're talking about the Taurian era. It's not, it's Leonic. Hello, it's Leonic. That means it's like, I'm making it up, okay? It's 3,000 years older than what they're saying. And he was saying that in 1991 or thereabouts, and they finally had to capitulate to his knowledge. Okay, they had to capitulate. There are watermarks on the paws of the Sphinx, for example. Watermarks, what the fuck, right? Okay, so my point to you is that we are righting the wrongs. We are here to demand the truth. We are here to rewrite the true history. And while this is happening, the nefarious energies of the 1% are throwing rocks, broken bottles, Molotov cocktails at us as we walk together towards ascension, and they're freaking the fuck out and doubling down with their evil agendas. Because if we rise into 5D, they fall. And where they go, I don't give a fuck. Neither should you. But they will not be a match to 5D. They want this planet to be how it is. And it's been very luscious for them. It's been very easy for them to enslave millions of people. Like 3 men, like controlling. Can you imagine 3 men going, yeah, you do what I say? What are you, crazy? And yet we're like Pavlov's dogs. We've been very much brainwashed and trained to be obedient. We know this. To be fearful. We know that. And your concern is not to start physical 3D revolution. That's not it. That's not what it's coming about. It's energy frequency. So when you see people going, I'm so angry, I hate it here, I just hate planet Earth, all of that, I haven't been able to stop crying for 3 days. When you see these comments, that's their power to create such despair that you're not a match to 5D. See, that's the magic, the black, dark, evil magic of their intent. But if you're somehow able to grieve your grief for that hour, and then you straighten your shoulders and pull your chin up and you go, right, the journey continues, and you continue into 5D ascension, you continue with high frequency visualization, manifestation, you continue, they will fall off the planet. This planet, I used to think was going to be a split, right? And I think actually it was for centuries. I really believe that. I don't think it's happening like that. I think that's why they're afraid. I've been thinking for like a year or so, and I've never mentioned it until now, that this planet is going 5D full on. She's not going to continue hosting 3D toxic, barbaric energies anymore. She, just like you, has paid her dues, and she will no longer be a match, just like you, to 3D at all. It ends with her. It ends with us. And since they will not be a match, they will be brought to the matched planet, Maybe it'll be a fully equipped Mad Max planet. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. You reap what you sow. So try not to get into a despairing mindset. I get into it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not walking on water, clearly. But what I will say to you is try to keep your shit together. Try to chant. Try to have your panic attack for an hour and then clean your shit up. Take a shower. Go power walk. Go sweat. Lift weights. Box. Swim. I don't give a fuck. But turn your mindset out of despair or impotent rage. And I'm going to say this. Every single one of you, despair or impotent rage. And I'm going to say this. Every single one of you should have a passport. And I'm not saying that to make you afraid. I'm saying that because you should never be a sitting duck in any situation. And why am I saying that? Because there's no excuse. Look for something you can sell or items you can sell on Poshmark, on Etsy. Right now, I'm actually selling all kinds of things because I have to raise money for my own needs, for my business and equipment, this and that, because I want to prepare to be on a podcast. I want to create a podcasting system that's really secure, solid, and I need the right equipment. So I'm raising money for that. But my point to you is in everything I ever wanted, okay, really, like if I needed a laptop, I'm just telling you, I would go up and look at some of my jewelry because when I buy a piece of jewelry, it's fucking good. It's worth reselling, for example, or I'd have something else to sell, like a crystal, like I'm about to sell a massive piece of crystal that's fucking kick-ass. But I would sell something that was dear to me to continue what I needed to do, like buy a laptop, like pay for passports. So what I'm going to say to you is look around your house and see shit you can sell. Gather your money, and all of you should have passports. There shouldn't be one fucking American, unless, God bless their soul, they're homeless and they don't have a pot to piss, like I know. But for you, have your passports. Because you want the freedom. Some of you will need to leave and some of you will stay. And some of you are like Moldavite crystals, quartz crystals, amethyst crystals, whatever. And you will be asked to go to Peru. You'll be asked to go to Thailand or Vietnam or other places. Or some of you will be here and you will be cloaked. I know of some healers that are incredibly powerful. They walk the Vedic Christianity line. And when I say Christianity, I mean the true Christian line. They walk the Vedic Christianity line. And when I say Christianity, I mean the true Christian line, not the bullshit. They will be protected. And they will continue creating a vibration of healing for American soil. But some of you will need to, move. And so don't be a sitting duck. I always bring back World War II, and I think of these amazing Jewish families that sat at kitchen tables looking at their things, their possessions. And they were looking at, the grandma's roses she planted when she was 19, and it's like it's taken the whole wall of the house. And the love they had for their possessions, the love they had. You had gay men sitting at kitchen tables going, I don't know, I don't think that it's going to go far. It's going to be okay. So I'm not trying to send fear, but I'm saying don't make your connection to possessions keep you stuck in a position that is not aligned with your soul. Let go of possessions, let go of things, and make bold moves. Your souls, I can't speak for your souls. I can't speak for what you need to be, where you need to be. But I do know that people have traveled outside their countries, right? And they have found their voice. They have become influencers because they left their comfort zone and they were exposed to other cultures and smells and ideas. And in that, they became philosophers and poets and great thinkers. They were always that. But for whatever reason, living in a certain area, a plot of land or a state, a country, whatever, had limited their idea of who they were and what they had to offer the planet. And leaving a place opened themselves up to themselves because they discovered new ways of expressing themselves. And they got passionate and they woke up and they became, content creators, influencers, philosophers, travel advisors, whatever, investors, whatever. So whatever it is, fear is not your ally unless it shows you to make massive jumps in your life. We all want to be comfortable. I know this. It is normal to want to nest. It's normal to want your things. But try to, and this is something I learned from D Sunshine, everything he owned, he had in a backpack. This is particularly hard for women. But try to get it down to 2 suitcases and simplify your life. Get rid of all your polyester shit. Don't buy anything else. Put your money aside. Go ahead and buy things that align with you, like a crystal or an instrument or art or something that gives you a beautiful feeling and empowers you, because sometimes you want a totem, you want this, you want that. I have precious books that I'll never give up, right? And then I have other precious books that I am giving up because it's time for them to find new owners, right? And so it's kind of like whittling it down to the essence. And really the main objective for you is to spend, especially for you, is to spend as much time in nature as possible, as much time. And to connect and to lay your beautiful body on her beautiful body and sob and let her take all your energy. Tell God, I'm so overwhelmed. Please take this. I can't carry this anymore. Do you remember the images of the footprint? There's only one footprint. And the person says, God, where have you been? And God says, I was carrying you all the way. The footprints you see on the sand are mine, not yours. Like, allow yourself to be taken care of. Many of us who are starseeds, high priests and high priestesses, have a hard time asking for help. We have a hard time being vulnerable. We are powerful fucking people. And my time with these 2 incredible goddesses showed me that there's a time to let go. There's a time to release. And there's a time to say, I need your help. I remember when my mother was on her deathbed, she was like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. And I said to her, do you realize that you are giving me the opportunity to gain good karma by being of service to you? Because you asked me for help. And I'm saying yes. And you realize that this is good for me. It's not just good for you. It's good for me. You give me an opportunity to be of service to you. And that's a win for me. I'm so honored that you would allow me to serve you. And this is something that even I had a hard time. Like, I could understand doing it for my mother or my beloved or whatever, right? But I still couldn't receive because I had to be the strong one, So try to align yourself with people who would be honored and ecstatic and joyful in helping you. You are giving them an opportunity. If they say no, they say no. It's okay. There's no resentment. There's no issue. But if they say yes, you've given them an incredible opportunity. So, and some of you will be givers for now. Maybe for now you need to be the givers, and some people need to be the receivers. And when I used to power walk, okay, I used to do a chi move where I would have my hand, like my palms facing each other, but high up, like from my forehead down to my upper rib cage, my solar plexus. And I would move it like a ball, like moving it back and forth. Like my hands would go back and forth, and I would say, I give and I receive. I give and I receive. I give and I receive. I would do that for about a mile. I give and I receive, and I give and I receive. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything you've given me. When I do the 4 corners above and below, I go to the south. Thank you for bearing me upon the wings of a Garuda, to let me know, Garuda is an eagle, to let me know that everything was necessary, every death, every birth, every joy, every despair, every laughter, every cry, every move good, perceived failures, perceived betrayals were necessary for who I am today. I am so grateful for this life. Oh. So these are the important tools and methods that realign yourself with self-forgiveness. If I don't feel well, if I feel I'm dealing with a battle, a demon, I have a demon of beating myself up, I go right into Ho'oponopono. I say my name, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And I do it 3 times to each chakra, 9 chakras. And I release. I release. So try to get into these habits, because I would hate for you to turn in circles in your cage of your own toxic mind when you allow your monkey mind to take over and to take all possessions of your rightful balanced self. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to read your comments real quick. They also got activated. Let me see here. I'm going to read. Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. I'm going all the way up. I didn't realize you guys wrote so much. Oh, I was always fascinated by the Bermuda Triangle since I was 5. I was obsessed with Bermuda Triangle as a kid. I consumed info about it, but I never could go there. Probably for a good reason. Interesting, right? Maybe there's some more downloads there for us. That's a freaky... The moment you mentioned Atlantis, I thought of Bermuda Triangle, and then you mentioned it's part of Atlantis. Felt like a confirmation. Yeah, it's the download. I remember being a spirit minding a giant crystal with another spirit and a crystal throne. I miss crystal. I know. I was beneath surface and hummed and transmitted messages to different planets and ship. I believe you. They also get activated. During BLM I know my son had a suitcase packed for him and his kitty ready to leave because home's on fire. Hyper independence, we forget that God is there to help us and guide us. Absolutely. I love that practice. Absolutely. Honestly, my friend D Sunshine would travel to Thailand, India. I mean, his pictures were amazing. He would upload them at little, cafes that had rickety Wi-Fi on Facebook. And he was very politically aware, and he was a Scottish man, and he was amazing. He was an amazing soul. He was a tantric yoga master, and he was broke. Okay, he'd go back to Scotland, work 6 months taking care of the elderly. He was a CNA, a nurse, like not a nurse, but like a medical assistant, right? A caretaker of older people who were sick or dying or hospice. And so he would make money, and then he would take off, and he would do it constantly until he ended up in the beautiful community in Scotland somewhere. I don't know. I forgot exactly the name of where, but I can tell you that those people were amazing. I could tell by how he was cared and loved when he finally passed. So why am I telling you this? Because when I look at, I love my books, right? So, and I'll be selling books. You'll be seeing that soon. I'm going to be uploading books that I'm selling that are really precious to me, but I think it's time to let go. And crystals that I absolutely adore. And to be honest with you, why would I sell something I don't fucking love? And part of it is the letting go. And in the crystals that I'm going to be selling, I will, some people will want to infuse the light codes themselves. I infuse light codes. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, I had some beautiful cactus quartz crystal, and I infused them with Archangel Michael, Mary Magdalene, or Yeshua. I have one personally that I've infused with Yeshua. I've told the story before about that crystal, and I never sold it because Yeshua is in that crystal, and I will not sell it. It is my totem. But I do have other crystals that are really amazing, and one that's the mother of all mothers is pretty fucking amazing. It's like a flame. You'll see it. And I'll upload it on TikTok, and I'll upload it. I'm trying to do Etsy, but it's a pain in the ass, so I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, look at what you need, but definitely get rid of all your polyester shit, viscose, polyester, blends. That should be easy. Sell your shit, go on Poshmark, fucking put it up there for garage sale prices, I mean, $10 for a blouse and $7 shipping. You'll sell like crazy. And keep all your natural fibers, your linens, get yourself some linen sheets. your cottons, your wools. You're not supposed to mix wool and cotton, apparently. You can look that up. And yeah, it's interesting. Just look at stuff like that. Try to keep yourself at the purest frequency level. Can you imagine doing yoga and sweating in polyester? You're actually, the frequency is neutralized completely. And I can't believe we never figured it out. But we were all so busy hustling, surviving, dealing with breakups, raising babies, helping with the kids' homework, working overtime, making ends meet, that we never realized the absolute laughability of being in a yoga studio in polyester from head to toe. I mean, it's like, you think about it today and you go, well, what the fuck is wrong with us? So try to be aware of what's going on. And I'm being told for some of you, you're going to need to eat watermelon and cucumber, making yourself a juice if you need of cucumber and watermelon, or eating just plain watermelon and cucumber. I keep seeing that again and again. So for some of you we need to add celery to do your kidneys, to clean out some shit. And yeah, liver is anger, lungs is grief, kidney is fear. Okay? So try to work on your energetic fields, work on your organs. Trust me, I personally am a person that's going through my own journey to finally get serious about healing my body. And if you're celibate, try to afford a massage once a month. Get yourself a really good massage therapist, really good, that's a healer, that does Reiki, shit like that, right? You want somebody who's in crystals, sound healing stuff, whatever. You want a real, not just your plain Jane, plain Joe masseuse, a real one. Treat yourself to 1 hour a month. And it's going to fucking change the way you see the world. Because if you're celibate, you're not getting the nectar of human touch. Okay? And it's not sexual. It has nothing to do about sex. Trust me. It has to do about the fact that we know that our skins, our bodies, as we are, these sentient beings, we need to have the feeling of being cared for. And eventually, even the warrior collapses and implodes. You can't be stoic indefinitely. It's impossible. Eventually, you'll crash. I need to get my passport. Thank you. It's about $250. And some colleges will, like when I got my American passport, I got it at a college law class. Like, look it up. And you make an appointment and there's no line, and they can take the picture on the spot as well. And you're done. You're set. And then figure the shit out later. Like, don't, I'm going to be blunt. I'm telling everyone, don't fuck around with this. Do not fuck around with this, because you want choices. You may never use that passport, but at least you have it, and you know exactly that should you wish to go to Canada, you can wave it across the border. I was raised, again, as you know, in Europe, and I remember living in the south of France. We lived in Opio, up in the hills, like 30 minutes from Juan-les-Pins, Saint-Tropez. And my father would say, okay, well, I want to have lunch in Italy. Let's just go. And I swear to God, we drive the 70 minutes to the border of Italy. And he had a favorite restaurant where he would get these smelts. I think they're called smelt or something like that. They're tiny little fish, completely full. Like they're like the head, everything's on them. And they're fried, individually fried. And he would order a big bowl of that. And I would order my sole meunière, which is filet of sole, Dover sole. And that was what I ordered in every restaurant. Didn't matter where we were in the world. And there we were as a family overlooking the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, that beautiful indigo waves going in, smelling the sea spray, smelling, the beauty of the place. Also, they would have sea walls, because the waters in the Mediterranean are fucking dangerous as fuck. I'm not kidding. Okay, Saint-Tropez is fine, Cannes is fine, Juan-les-Pins is fine, but there's still some undertows that really can take you out and spiral you like a vortex. It's not a joke, and people drown all the time. But what I will say to you is as long as you stay close to the coast, there should be no issues. But we'd be eating this incredible lunch in Italy, not far from Milan, and we would enjoy the view right there. Crazy. then we wave our passports, swear to God, wave our passports back across the border from Italy back to France. And I remember doing that when I was a kid in skiing. There's a whole way of living that is so different than in America that people don't understand really the quality and the diversity and the excitement until you do it. Like on a train, I've been on Amtrak's in America, obviously, but when you get on a train in France, from Switzerland to France, or from this to that, or whatever, they have lunch, a proper sit down where you have a proper, beautiful lunch. And I mean, and we're talking about white tablecloths, the whole bit, sterling silver, depending on what kind of train, or there are people, going up and down the aisles with sandwiches to sell this, that, and the other. It depends on, what you want to experience, obviously. But my point to you is like, I think every human being needs to give themselves a breath of fresh air and a breath of realization that there's a different way to live. There's a different way to experience. And the problem that I hear with many, many Americans is the fear of language. And you've got Google. You've got fucking Google. Translate, for Christ's sakes. You've got little machines, tiny little machines for like less than $100 that literally will listen to a person talk and translate it back to your language, and you talk it back into the little box and it translated to the person. There's no excuse. Language is not the issue. So the technology is here now. And my American father knew German, Italian, and French. Sure, he had an American accent. Hello, yeah. But he learned those languages in his 30s, in his late 30s. Okay, so you can't tell me it's about youth, because it has nothing to do with that. I've never met an American that went to these countries and didn't know the language after a year, and could hold a very good conversation, and would maybe have to tell the person to slow down. Like even for me with my French family, like I need to have them to slow down a little bit. But I get all of it, and so you've got to kind of like realize that what you decide to do in the next, I'm being told to tell you, in the next 5 months is about self-empowerment. And self-empowerment is all the things I just mentioned. It's putting you in a place where you have infinite choice, because you've lessened the load and you've gone to a place of stripping away all the extra for what you really need. You know what I mean? So that's going to be, again, like massively important. Okay, we eat watermelon every morning for breakfast. Oh, that's very cool. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Smelt is like tiny little fish. Yeah, I can attest to that. Thank you so much, because language is something I thought of. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people are kind. Jennifer and I were talking about how kind the people in Turkey are, how incredibly kind they are, how loving, how kind, how generous, which is so unheard of. People live a different way. For a lot of people, you'll come back to the States and you'll decide that this is where this is home for you. This is where you want to stay. And some of you won't come back. It's that simple. So you want to kind of put yourself in that preparation. But anyway, if you missed the original, the first part of this, we talked about Mary Magdalene. We talked about her probably being the Madonna and the child. We talked about what is going on, what is surfacing as we ascend as a people. And we talked about all of that. So if you missed any of that, I will upload this on YouTube today. And I will be putting a lot of books for sale, and also precious oracle cards that I really love, and passing it on to the next people, And so, and I'll see if I can set up a link on Etsy so you guys can go there. If not, it might be on my website where you buy directly from me, whatever. Whatever you're comfortable with, I'm good with. And I'm shipping to US, and I might ship to Canada, and depending. And yeah, any other questions, just let me know. And I feel privileged to speak to you. I feel very privileged to muse and to kind of tell you where my thoughts are, where I'm going with this. And again, try to keep your energy in a very manageable place. You're not alone. You've never been alone. You have a light team around you. And I know that sometimes it's not so obvious. And I know quite often it feels so devastatingly lonely. And I get that. And I've been there. And we are, to be honest, we are souls in these bodies that are really dense. They're dense. They have suffered, family lineage trauma. We've chosen DNA, lineages, races, cultures, countries, purposely to overcome these issues. And all your issues may not be my issues. And that's okay. But what we're doing collectively, which I find is extraordinary, is that we are purging and healing multiple bloodlines across the world. The next generations that will be born into the lineage you and I drop, right? Once we drop our bodies, will have a clear, clean slate into 5D. We are actually alchemically shifting DNA from old programming that was harmful, has never been helpful, into 5D. And when you and I drop our bodies, the lineage will continue when we're long gone, long forgotten. And these new souls that are coming in, and we might even come in ourselves, to be honest, because we're like, I've always loved planet Earth. I definitely want to come back and visit, right? So you incarnate to be one of the teachers, one of the avatars, one of the whatever you're going to be. And you are now entering a DNA that's been cleaned and cleared. You don't have a baby in a dirty womb. You don't have a baby in a dirty room. You clean the room, you paint it, you decorate it, you sage it, you put lots of love on every wall, the door, the windows. You do everything you can. Similarly, that's what we're doing with these lineages. We're clearing, cleaning, activating, so that when the new ones are born, they slip into something that is so pure, so 5D, that they don't have to do any more lineage work. All they have to do is get to higher consciousness of recall, of love, of generosity, of community, of wisdoms. And that's why I say we're capturing ancient wisdom. We're claiming ancient wisdom back. We're not New Age. And there's nothing new about it. We're reclaiming something ancient and wise, and we're alchemizing it to a higher level of understanding and respect and awe for it. It's not New Age. New Age is the fuckery, the bastardry of egoic psychics and others who, always wanted to be put on a pedestal. New Age is that. It's a hierarchy. It's a caste system. It's an I know more than you. It's a cultish kind of system. And we are seeing the demise of the New Age as we're seeing the demise of the Catholic Church and other religions. Same thing. And for the same reasons. Just clothed in more hippy-dippy New Age clothes. And that's not the end-all be-all. And so we are really getting to the very marrow of the truth. And not my truth, not your truth, the truth. And ultimately, that's what we've always wanted. And we're finally facing the shimmering field of colors of activation that is bringing us to this collective awe of what we're experiencing. And God bless those who are suffering. God bless the children. God bless the mothers. God bless those who are dropping their souls in a violent way, in an unfair, unjust way, in a barbaric way. And our job is to send energy, because you and I both know you can't get on a plane. You are not Sarah Connor. You are not Mad Max. You don't have it. but you can still be powerful, important in engineering the help of these souls to get to their destination as fast as possible by pulsing light, even if you have a globe, a map, or just visualizing that they are dropping their bodies in the right way so that these nefarious energies don't get to suck their energy, right? And so that's what you can do. But most importantly, and I'm saying that, 5D handles all of our worries. 5D creates an impossible match to the fuckery that you've all witnessed in the last 5 years, and some of you have been aware of this shit your entire incarnation. So 5D is the answer. And that's why that's all I focus on now. Moving forward, it's 5D all the way. It's 5D when you take a shower. It's 5D when you eat your sandwich. It's 5D when you're driving your car, when you're doing your laundry. It's 5D. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well. Hang on. No. Trying to. I can't. Sorry, guys. I'm like, we're having a hard time turning it off again. Oh my God. 441. How fabulous. I love it. Namaste, be well.